speed of everything happening is linked to rhythm. The way how we live, the stress that we live every day can be measured or quantified in rhythmic patterns. If you live in a place that has no water, you will never hear the waves. And if you live in a place that has no trees, you'll never hear the birds. Original Arabic culture is related to the desert and to that roughness of Bedouin life. Bedouin rhythms are so linked to the movement of camels, you know? A camel is moving.
It's really important to show our culture. We have lovely drum and percussion patterns.
In the times of Arabs in Spain, the music that's been influenced from that time is very, very inspiring, and it carries in it almost everything we need to know about Arabic music. Rhythms, scales, maqams.
What distinguishes the Arabic music from the rest is the quarter notes. The quarter notes are only there in the Arabic musical scale.
Western music has semitones, you know, white keys, black keys on the piano, semitones. The guitar is divided in semitones. But quarter tone can only be played on an instrument like this that has no frets, you know, because you're free to move anywhere. So we're talking about a microtone.
These, you won't get that in other. يا حبيب الروح يا أغلى البشر من ودادك سيدي جسمي نحيل. The quarter note is very clearly heard.
We did some research on looking at certain Arabic scales that could be played on Western instruments. We've managed to become known as the kind of like Arabic fusion band in Dubai. We took a decision to stay true to our origins because we are Arabs by nature, but we also grew up with a lot of Western bands like you know, Floyd and Hendrix and Zeppelin, and a lot of folk and a lot of rock and stuff. So we took a decision to try to kind of like blend those two influences, if you will.
We like to keep it raw, and we like to keep it original.
Well, this is called Qabila, and it's the title track from our second album, which we are recording this year. Qabila is basically, it means tribe. It's about that affinity as friends and as a band. The chemistry is very important.
Actually, it has like different beats because we're moving from a scale to another scale. So, but the platform of the song is an Arabic fusion.
We have so many percussions in the Arab world. The percussion depends on the region. Arab world is linked to Africa and Asia and Europe. The main percussions we use first is the daf, which is a small frame drum like that. Then you have the frame drum itself, which is bigger.
The Turkish and the Persian dafs are larger. They're about like this big each, you know. The other ones will give you a tak, doom. You will feel that depth in it.
Frame drums have been very famous to come from the Gulf area, like Bahrain, and they're still being made in those areas.
This is a small drum, we call it marwas. Normally it's used by the fishermen when they get back from the sea, from their fishing, and their pearl diving trips. It's basically made from goat leather. When they use it, they would heat it up next to fire so that it would, one would go, the other one would go, they would reply to each other. But when 30 or 40 people are playing this and they're giving all sorts of replies to each other, it's beautiful.
Other percussions would be the darbuka, or we call it durbaki.
People ask me, you play music. What kind of music? Piano? No. Okay, you play violin? No. I play darbuka. When I first liked the darbuka, I didn't know that there are no other women who play darbuka. I didn't know that, I'll be the only female. As I went on, I discovered how odd it is and how people take it a little bit with a funny face or with a strange comment. I got a lot of this, and the more this happened, I think the more it was fun to go through it even more.
The string instruments are probably the most popular in the Arabic music scene since centuries. So oud is the main instrument, and the one we use for the tarab, which is the kind of the spiritual state of mind that is being reached through music.
This is the companion, this is the friend. This is the instrument that represents Arabic music.
My name is Iriab, I'm from Brazil, and I came to Dubai just to see what's happening in the city. And I start to play in few cafes just to know how it works, the Dubai music, like they sing. My reference of music in the Middle East was the Adhan. When the guys say Allahu Akbar, everybody come to pray. For the first thing, they sing for the people come to pray. So something interesting. Now I know it's not exactly like singing. It's a type of maqam.
A maqam is a state of mind. It's a mood. It's a universe you enter and you keep traveling through, until you go to another maqam. But of course, in scientific terms, we can just say it's a scale.
For me, it's hard to understand. It's something new for me. Samba is the biggest style in Brazil. The people know samba. Samba is something common for me, but it was not my style. I was trying to play, but it was not my style. We have one guy, his name is Dilermando Reis, he was from the 30s. So he was playing things like this. It's close to flamenco, but it's classic music. And when I discovered in the Middle East, flamenco was created from Arabic scale, was something amazing. The Ziriab was that guy. He brought that stuff to Spain. He was born in Baghdad, and he started to to learn oud. He started to become better than his teacher. So the teacher became envious and said, listen, you need to leave Iraq. And he left Iraq to Andalusia in Cordoba. The rest of the world start to see like that style, flamenco style, is something from Spain. But no, it's from Middle East, it's from Iraq. And again, Izri introduced this. And I'm glad to use his name.
Is Omar Khorshid. He is that young guitarist that was found by one of the famous composers in Egypt, Abdul Wahab. And Abdul Wahab is one of the main composers for Kulthum, the famous legend Kulthum. He took elements from classical Western music, from Latin music, from jazz, from ballroom dance, and put them in Arabic music, fused them at that time. I'm talking about 50s, 60s, Eventually, there were melodies that had quarter tones. Omar Khorshid chose to take off some frets from the back of his guitar neck and put them where it's needed. That was the very primitive way to do it. That was done in late 60s, early 70s. I took that idea, but I didn't want it to be limited to one part of the guitar, because I play everywhere in the guitar, so I want that to be everywhere as well. So the only way was to study again the fretboard and find all the possible locations to put those extra frets, and then find a manufacturer, somebody who can, I don't want to do it at home with a hammer, I want somebody to do it in a proper factory. This is the KMA1. The main idea behind this acoustic guitar is to have a guitar sounding instrument on which I can play like I play on an oud. With a fretboard without anything on top, you can always slide the notes and get that glissando effect. This is the Ibanez KMM1. As you see, it's an electric guitar on which I can play Arabic music. Let's say if I'm playing a blues in C, I can add to it so it sounds a bit Arabic, And this is again a fretless guitar, but it has on it exactly the strings that we put on the oud. So it's double strings. The exact set that we put on the oud, we've put it on this guitar. This is the glisten power. So oud is the main instrument. Then we have the qanun, which is the flat harp.
آلة القانون هي من أقدم الآلات الموسيقية العربية. هي موجودة بس مو بس بالشرق الأوسط، يعني بالوطن العربي، موجودة بإيران، بتركيا، بأذربيجان. هي من الآلات اللي تعتبر هي دستور الآلات العربية، لذلك سموها القانون. ما في تخت شرقي إلا بيتواجد فيها. خلال تواجدي بالإمارات صار لي المدة الطويلة اللي أنا فيها اشتغلت كتير موسيقى فيوجن. الألبوم إن شاء الله حيكون متضمن عدة مقطوعات هي حصرية بالموسيقى العربية. الفكرة اللي أنا بدي أطرحها بالألبوم حتكون هي معبرة عن مشاعر كحياتي بدولة الإمارات وحنين للدولة اللي دولتي أنا اللي بحبها، سوريا. القانون هي آلة تعتبر من أشهر الآلات العربية بس ومن أصعبها تعلماً. هلا إذا بتلاحظي آلة القانون هي عبارة عن 78 وتر. ال 78 وتر مكررين، كل 3 أوتار بيعطوا نوتة واحدة. إذا بتدققي داخل البيانو هو تقريباً يعني 100% هن نفس الشيء، بس بيختلف طريقة العزف. البيانو بيكون بمطرقة، أما نحن بنعزف بالريشة وعبارة عن بالأصبع.
I actually prefer playing sort of my own style, which I guess could be termed fusion, because I like to play 2 or 3 songs from different genres, for example, something Bollywood with something Arabic with something sort of English contemporary like Coldplay, mixing classical with, say, Arabic classical. When I composed Sandstar, I had in my mind this Lawrence of Arabia type scene, you know, with this sand dunes, golden sand dunes. It's like a soundtrack to a thought, the thought of this Middle Eastern Manhattan that is Dubai.
Before Islam, there used to be some famous female vocalists in the non-religious society, Arabic society before Islam, which mostly had disappeared through the first periods of Islam. Later in the 19th century,